You're listening to the Behind the Scenes Podcast Diary, episode number 12. Welcome to Amelia's Behind the Scenes Podcast Diary, an exclusive look at the behind the scenes misadventures of a 30-something thriller writer. Discover how close she is to releasing her latest novel, hear exciting details about upcoming writing projects, and discover the lessons she has learned along her writing journey so you don't have to make the same mistakes. You can find the episode show notes and lots more information at ameliahay.com/podcast/BTS. As I look back over the last few years, I've noticed I have a bit of a problem, and that problem has to do with focus. Yep, my inner creative wants to do everything all at once. I have all of these writing ideas that I seriously want to pursue, but I can't do it all. I need to focus. My ideas are all in the form of multiple series and are in 4 different genres. These genres are medieval fantasy, crime thriller, archaeological thriller, and cozy mystery. I'm serious when I say I want to write in these 4 different series. However, focusing on 4 different series from the start is going to be difficult, and it will mean success in these genres will take a long time because I'm starting multiple things at once, and the readers will have nothing else to read after these first in series novels have been published. In the spirit of looking back and learning, I've decided that in 2019 I'm going to focus on my James Lalonde series first, and then if I have time, the archaeological thriller series. Notice how I said if I have the time. That reiteration is for my benefit, but take it on board if you're like me and have too many plates spinning at once. In light of my newfound wisdom, I'm going to share my business and writing goals for 2019 with you. I'm going to share with you my goals or intentions for 2019 now in January, and a mid-year update around June or July just as a check-in. There will be a final review at the beginning of 2020 where I will look back at 2019 and hopefully have good news to share with you. In the tradition of the podcast episodes, I will give regular updates. However, these updates won't be as formal as the planned update episodes. Before we dive into my plans for 2019, it's worth mentioning what I achieved, or in my case, what I failed to accomplish in 2018. I have a confession to make. I didn't achieve most of my business and writing goals in 2018, but you saw that coming. There were a whole host of unforeseen life experiences and obstacles that distracted me from my writing and business goals, or so I thought. Just a side note, my lack of goal achieving success had a lot to do with the outcome style of goal I was setting, unexpected obstacles, and not keeping focused on my goals. As I look back over the year, I realized there were many successes along the way that were worth celebrating. So what did I achieve in 2018? I've come up with a short list of mini successes instead of rehashing my 2018 goals and explaining in detail what I achieved, what I did not, and why. There's a part of me that doesn't feel ready to talk about a few of the unexpected and not so great life events from 2018. It's why I'm attempting to share details but hold back at the same time. In no particular order, my mini successes for 2018 are as follows. I figured out what works for me in terms of revision. Started revising immunity and silence. I finished writing the first draft of Missing and created a plan of action for revision. Because I added Missing to the series, I changed the order of the James Lalonde series by including the prequel novella Missing and the prequel novel Silence as a part of the main series. I've created a cover style for the James Lalonde thrillers, so it will be evident that these books are in a series. I started to brainstorm and outline the first in a cozy mystery series, which I've now put off until 2020 or 2021. Brainstormed ideas for an archaeological thriller series, started my thriller novel nerd Instagram account, read 35 mystery, thriller, and suspense, as well as writing craft books in 2018. That's 9 more books than in 2017. Started creating a marketing strategy for immunity, revised and created a 2nd edition of Smarter Goal Setting, started a series on 3-act structure on this podcast, which will continue in 2019. I resolved a podcast recording issue that I had after moving to an apartment along a main road, and the solution isn't costing me money or extra time in post-production. So I'm considering that list of moments mini successes because I'm able to move forward and achieve my goals in 2019 as a result of these achievements. So what do I want to achieve in 2019? I want to publish a minimum of 5, but ideally 7 books in 2019. So why 5 to 7 and not as a specific number? It's a case of hoping for the best but expecting the worst. In 2019, I want to focus on the James Lalonde thrillers, and if I have time, publish 1 or 2 books in an unnamed archaeological thriller series. As you'll realize from the goals I've set, I'm only writing 2 books this year, maybe 4 if I have time. Yep, I'm back to my same old ambitious self. I guess you're wondering, how am I going to achieve all of this? Actually, before I explain how I'm going to get all this done, I probably should share the 8 or 9 goals that I have set for the year with you. Goal number 1, revise, edit, and publish Missing, Silence, and Immunity in 2019. Missing needs further revisions and professional editing, and Silence needs a partial rewrite and editing before publishing. The 3rd book in this series, Immunity, needs a further round of revisions based on what I've learnt writing, editing, and publishing the first 2 books. I know what needs to be rewritten and changed in these 3 novels, so in theory, all I have to do is the work. Therefore, the biggest hurdle I will experience along the road to achieving this goal is resistance. Now that I'm aware of this, I will do these revisions first before anything else. In the past, I've started the day off with business-related tasks, but in 2019, I will need to do writing first. My typical writing day will start off with reading over breakfast, followed by revisions, a workout, followed by business-related tasks the remaining part of the day. So it goes without saying that this goal is a non-negotiable for me. I've grown tired of constantly talking about writing and rewriting these books that I want to move forward to publish and the new challenges that marketing will bring. Goal number 2, write a prequel short story to the James Lalonde series to give away as an email sign-up. There's an event mentioned in Missing that occurred between James and another character. I want this short story to be an Easter egg in Missing. In every one of my James Lalonde thrillers, there will be some type of clickable link where the reader can receive a free short story, see a case file, or a newspaper article related to the story. Spoiler alert, one of these Easter eggs Missing is going to be a short story. Therefore, I need to write this short story before I release Missing in 2019. I plan on publishing Missing at the end of March or the beginning of April, but that publishing date depends on how my plans work out. Goal number 3, write and publish books 4 and 5 in the James Lalonde thriller series. The working titles for books 4 and 5 are Abscess and Vertigo. To be honest, I can't wait to start writing Vertigo because it's set in the small city of Poitiers in France during the Christmas period. Due to the time period of the story, I need to publish Vertigo in December, or I may need to change the dates of the story if I can't meet the publishing deadline. But I don't want to do that, so I've created a looming deadline for myself. In light of that, I would still be quite happy if I reached the end of the year with Abscess and Vertigo written but not published. Goal number 4, research, brainstorm and outline the next 2 books in the James Lalonde thriller series. The reason this goal has made it onto my list for 2019 is I want to be a few books ahead of my publishing schedule because I want to start a family. All things considered, I need to plan ahead for maternity leave since I don't want to slow down my publishing schedule. Ideally, by the time I have my first child, I will probably have people waiting to read the next book in this series, but baby-proofing my career is a discussion for a future podcast diary episode. To be honest, I have no idea about the plot for these next 2 books. I do have a Scrivener Bible for the James Lalonde thriller series where I've recorded more than a few ideas for subsequent books, but no concrete plans. However, book 6 does have a working title and a super vague story idea. It's more of a one-liner pitch with a few notes. As I've pointed out, it's super vague and I'm hoping by the end of 2019 I will have 2 revised outlines for books 6 and 7. Goal number 5, stay on track with my release schedule for the Authorpreneur podcast. As you probably know, the Authorpreneur podcast contains 2 different shows, the Behind the Scenes Diary, which you're listening to right now, and a show that focuses on writing and publishing. Due to many reasons, I fell behind my release schedule in 2018. Now that I've found solutions to a few of the things that were holding me back and getting in my way, I want to stay on top of this in 2019. I've already created a content publishing calendar for 2019, and I'm currently 2 episodes ahead of schedule. Check out the Behind the Scenes podcast episode 10 if you're curious about my reasons for falling behind and the solution that I accidentally discovered. I'll add a link to this episode in the show notes over at ameliahay.com/BTS012-writing-goals. Goal number 6, read 40 books in 2019. Ironically, this is one of the goals that I achieved in 2018. I originally first made an official reading goal last year because I wanted to make a conscious effort to read more thriller novels. As a writer, I'll read anything, but all of the books I do read have undertones of crime, thriller, and suspense. Over the years, I want to increase the number of books that I read, but I want to do this slowly. In 2016, I read 14 books. The following year, I read 27 books, and last year, I read 35 books. Goal number 7, start a podcast around my Thriller Novel Nerd blog and Instagram account. Yes, I want to start another podcast. I've titled this podcast Thriller Novel Nerd. The podcast will be a discussion around books that I'm reading, and the episode will be released twice a month. It's almost like a virtual book club. Thriller Novel Nerd will be light and not need as much research as the Authorpreneur podcast, because it will be me in front of a microphone talking about the books I'm reading with minimal audio editing. It's designed to be a low maintenance podcast. And now for my bonus goal. And my bonus goal, goal number 8, write and publish the first 2 books in my archaeological thriller series. This goal is the only intention in this list that I've included in case I have the time to write these stories. The first book has a tie-in with my novella Missing, and the second occurs several years later. I'm avoiding sharing the title of the first novel in the archaeological thriller series because it's a bit of a spoiler for Missing. As much as I love talking about the stories I'm writing, I need to keep some things a mystery. So how am I going to achieve all of this? First of all, I'm defining success as achieving 75% of my writing and publishing goals, as well as achieving all 3 business and personal goals. To make achieving my goals a little easier, I've broken the annual goals down into a quarterly and monthly to-do lists. In order to keep myself focused, I endeavour to read my goals every day instead of setting and forgetting. Ideally, writing comes first, and that will be my main focus. This means getting religious about my writing time and adopting strict working hours and scheduling this in my calendar. To assist focus, I will batch produce all podcast and blog content. Now that I've sort of said this out loud, this is all great, but if something happens where I fall behind my podcast, which I've done this already, surprisingly, surprise, surprise, what happened is, I don't know what happened. I uploaded an episode to Blueberry and sort of nothing happened. Maybe it was a bit of a fail on my end. Maybe I just sort of uploaded everything, but I'd saved it and didn't actually press publish. But this week, the week that this particular episode is going out, you would have noticed that you've received another episode. Before then, I had to move the episodes around, and so I released one on Tuesday, and this one will go live on Thursday. Because the beauty with screwing up your schedule is I went and re-recorded this episode because this episode was supposed to go out last week, and I've changed my mind about a few of my goals and how I wanted to word it and how I planned on defining success, because that's actually a really key element in goal setting and achieving, is right from the very start defining at the end of the year what will make you happy as you look back on the year that you've just done. Like me, do you have a lot of ideas for stories and try to work on them all at once? How are you going to focus yourself on one thing in order to get more done in 2019? I want to hear from you. Come on over to the show notes at ameliahay.com/BTS012-writing-goals and share your plan of action in the comments section. Thank you for listening and happy reading and writing, everybody. Thank you for listening to Amelia's Behind the Scenes podcast diary. If you're new to this podcast or want to be notified about more episodes just like this, then click the subscribe button right now. I'm your host Amelia, and I'll see you next week for another diary episode.